Striyo Parivishto Vijay Gopala Chudamani Shishama Sundar Shikara Shikara Smiraha Radhika Rasika Mama Kripanide Supriya Charana Kinkurin Guru Tavai Vasmi Najivami Tayavino Iti Vigyaya Radhitam Nayamam Charanantikam Yat Kinkreshu Vausa Kalkakavani Nitapurasha Purusha Shashakandamali Wealth does not mean that we avoid wealth in general. It means we avoid the association with wealth and our own self-interest or material desires. The two of those things are not compatible with trying to obtain pure bhakti. Wealth, when it is used in the service of Krishna or Hari, Guru, and Vaishnavas, means the Lord, Sri Guru, and the Vaishnavas. This is desirable wealth, actually. We don't also have to make extraneous efforts to get wealth to, quote, fulfill those things, service to Hari, Guru, and Vaishnavas. Whatever will come naturally of its own accord by the function of our day-to-day life. Like if you're working, whatever funds come from that, whether they be meager or very extremely wealthy funds may come, all of that should be geared towards the service of Hari, Guru, and Vaishnava. So a person may think, well, wait a minute, what about buying a house for myself, or buying an automobile for myself, or buying food, etc., etc. These are things that's all being used if you're in the proper frame of mind in the service of Hari, Guru, and Vaishnava. If you don't have an automobile, how you'll go to the temple? You understand? It is not like we have to live like people lived centuries ago. So in order to prove that I'm not Danam, I'll walk, 100 miles to go to the temple or whatever it might be. You understand? So not Danam does not mean the absence of a practicality in the service of Hari, Guru, and Vaishnava. So to own an automobile or to pay rent and have an apartment or own a home or so forth and so on, we should always think all of these things are used in the service of Hari, Guru, and Vaishnava. In this way, Rupa Goswami Pad has described this to be called Yukta Vairagya. The word Yukta means to connect something, and Vairagya means detachment. Connecting the sensibility and bhakti of detachment with attachment to serving Krishna is true detachment. Let me repeat that. Yukta Vairagya means, the word Vairagya means detachment, but true detachment means being detached from our self-interest in enjoying something, but fully attached to using those things to serve Krishna. This is called Yukta, connecting our sensibility of being detached with our attachment to Krishna. Is everybody clear on that? Or should I repeat it again? Or is it clear? Trivikram Prabhu?
If you could just repeat it one more time, please. I'm just taking notes.
Yes.
Here.
So Vairagya, the word Vairagya means detachment. And we should have natural detachment from the tendency for sense enjoyment. But how do we align that with using everything to serve Krishna? So we should be detached from our own self-interest in utilizing the facilities that may come to us, but we should be fully attached to using them to serve Krishna. So in fact, our detachment should really be attachment to serving Hari, Guru, and Vaishnava. You understand? That's the real meaning of detachment. And Rupa Goswami, he described this as yukta. The word yukta, like the word yog, means to connect something. Connecting the tendency to be detached to serve Krishna with attachment to Krishna is truly called yukta vairagya. It's okay, Prabhu? Okay. So Nandanam here does not mean aversion to wealth. Actually, aversion is simply the flip side of the coin of attachment. Just like there are 5 principles of avidya, or spiritual ignorance. The first one, avidya, means the absence of knowledge about our actual identity as being das of Krishna, or servants of Krishna. Because that nature of being the das of Krishna is not understood or is absent, avidya, the knowledge of that is absent, it produces automatically, because you can't be nothing. You have to be something. There's no such thing as nothingness, right? So that lack of knowing who we are produces what is called asmita. I am something. Then what happens is our particular karma gives us an upadi. An upadi means like, my name is John Doe, I'm born in this family, I'm born in this culture, this race, religion, social status, etc. The false ego then attaches itself to that upadi in your karmic iteration that you're going through and says, yes, this is who you are. And you are meant to enjoy this particular identity, etc., etc. The false egoism is the liaison, so to speak, with the three modes of material nature, which will do two things. One is it will play out your karma. Whatever you would do to go through will be played out through the modes of nature, through the facility of the ahamkara, or false ego. The other thing the false ego does is bolster the false identity that you have. That's why it's called false egoism. The third and fourth elements of avidya is rag and dvesh. That means attachment and aversion. And the fifth thing is called abhinavesh, or being inextricably absorbed in the false egoism and the modes of nature in such a way you can't get yourself out. Now, those third and fourth principles, rag and dvesh, are the very things which cause confusion around what it means to be detached. Because we think detachment means I will simply avoid everything. I'll keep everything away from me. That's called detachment. So I'm living a very detached life, right? But actually, inwardly, there may be so much attachment to all these things. Just like it is possible to accept the order of sannyas, which by its very nature means accepting renunciation or detachment. But if in the sannyas order, you still maintain attachment to enjoying the facility of all of those people who are now serving you as a sannyasi, is that truly detachment? No. So real detachment means when we have perspective on who we actually are, and therefore there's a natural attachment to Krishna, it naturally produces detachment from other things in terms of self-interest and self-enjoyment. You understand? So the real meaning of vairagya is visesh anurag, a special form of attachment to Krishna that produces natural, organic detachment from self-interest and self-enjoyment. That's the real meaning of the word vairagya, or detachment. So na dhanam does not mean rejection of wealth, because external rejection of wealth is simply dvesh. It is simply the flip side of attachment to wealth. You understand? Is everybody clear on that? So rejection of wealth is simply the flip side of attachment to it. The idea of using everything to serve Krishna is the actual proper status. Because if you're the das of Krishna and you come across anything, what would its utility be? What would its purpose be? It has to be in relation to Krishna. You understand? In other words, anything that I come in contact with, I have to gauge its favorability for service to Krishna. So I don't have an axiomatic or automatic detachment from everything. No, I have a deep attachment to Krishna, and everything that comes in my purview, I only gauge its suitability for engaging it in the service of Krishna. This is the proper mindset. So Mahaprabhu is teaching na dhanam. Don't have attachment to your self-interest. What is the only way to do that? To be situated in your actual nature, which is I'm the das of Krishna. So really na dhanam and na janam, na sundarim, etc. all relate to being established in Sambandha Gyan. In the commentary of Srila Bhakti Yoga on this particular verse, the Samodhana Bhashya, is the commentary of Bhakti Vinod Thakur. He brings this point up, that when one receives Sri Harinam from Sri Guru and cultivates Harinam properly under the guidance of Guru, then they become situated in their actual sambandha gyan, means knowledge of their own actual status, beginning with Jivera Surupaya Krishna Nitya Das. I am the Das of Krishna. Once you're in that perspective and you're actually Saranagit, then you'll see, oh, what is Anukul, favorable? What is Pratikul, unfavorable? You understand? So in this way, everything you come in contact with will be gauged by its suitability to serve Krishna or not. That is natural, organic, and real detachment. Understand? Here's one verse mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. Raso vrajam, rasopi asya, param drishya nivartate. That if one simply tries to artificially detach themselves from everything by distancing themselves, but the taste for those things remains in the heart, real renunciation will never take place. Real detachment will never take place. So it cannot come by suppression or by avoidance. It has to come by raso vrajam, raso piyasya. The removal of inferior material interest and sense gratification, which is called jad rasa, for param drisva, the superior taste that comes from engagement in serving and developing love for God. So only that mood of coming into the mood of wanting to serve and love God, becoming situated in your identity in relation to that, first it will come intellectually. I know I'm the Das of Krishna. Later on, it will become more substantive. But being situated in that position, the influence of that mood of loving service becomes param drisva, a superior taste. Therefore, renunciation or detachment becomes genuine. So na danam, na janam, na shundarim. So na danam means wealth, na janam means followers. So here followers means not only those who follow you in terms of whatever the ideal that they put you in. Like followers means all of your followers on Facebook, all of your followers, at your job, all of your followers any and everywhere that glorify your material status. You understand? They're called janam. So beginning with your family members, wife, children, everything else, they're also called janam. You understand? All of those who put you in a heightened perspective, right? And they give you glorification according to your material status. All of that is called janam. So now that I'm not janam, I don't want wealth. And even if you have wealth, you have so many followers. The more wealthy you are, then the more followers you tend to have, because everybody loves those who are wealthy, famous, powerful, knowledgeable, etc. So that's another thing Bhakti Vinod Thakur mentions in his commentary. Dhanam here means not only the wealth externally of money and facility, but it means the wealth of personal prestige in religion, in learning, or anything else. That generates janam, followers. So it says one should not have attachment to that kind of wealth also. The wealth of prestige, which creates janam, the wealth of having followers. Understand? So na janam, na shundarim. So here the word sundarim, sundarim kavitam va. The word va in Sanskrit means or. So here, this word va is being used in a sense to qualify sundarim. Because sundarim means I don't want jana, meaning a beautiful wife or a beautiful husband. You understand? Because the principal energy in this material world is based around sex life. So that's the chief energy that binds one to the material world. So na jana means I also don't want sundarim, beautiful companion, to try to enjoy the beauty of a companion. Then kavitam means knowledge or learning. But sundarim is also applied to kavitam because it means that kind of learning which is enchanting. In other words, a person becomes very enchanted by their knowledge. Just like you'll see that people, the general tendency, unless they're devotees, have some sense of devotion, Whenever you speak to people who are very highly educated, it means if they have a doctorate or something like that, there is an automatic air and aura about them that I am very learned. I've also seen it happen in the devotee community. Unless the devotee is very steeped or very much absorbed in bhakti, a person can think that they have like there's a lot of devotees who have gone and gotten degrees in philosophy or theology. So then when they come back into the devotee community, they have the air of being extremely learned in bhakti. And they're two different things. If you do a theological study of the history of the six Goswamis, it does not make you expert on the six Goswamis. What makes you expert on the six Goswamis is following the path of bhakti enunciated and illuminated by the six Goswamis. But there's some devotees who academically, just like another thing that began to happen, which is not bad, there began to be these courses which were offered in our society called Bhakti Sastri, Bhakti Vaibhav, etc., etc. And those courses were good in the sense that they engaged devotees in studying Srila Prabhupada's books in a consistent way. But one of the drawbacks that I found from that is that devotees started to take the information more academically, and without being in guidance, they could not really grasp the inner meaning of what it was they were studying. But the backdrop of having a Bhakti Sastri, Bhakti Vaibhav degree gave the nourishment to the false ego to say, yes, I am a Bhakti Sastri. You understand? And what happens is the pride itself overshadows the ability to effectively get the guidance and anugatya of actual realized sadhus, and therefore the information doesn't turn into realization. You understand? So he's saying here, na sundarim kavitam. So it means I don't want the beauty and attractiveness of material learning. You understand? And also it's related, va, means it's also related to na janam, meaning a beautiful mate. Because among all the followers that you have, no one is closer to you than your spouse or significant other. So Mahaprabhu is praying as a sadhaka that I also don't want this. I don't want to be so attracted to any mate. Of course, in Sriman Mahaprabhu's life, in a practical sense, Mahaprabhu first married Lakshmi Priya, right? Lakshmi Priya was an incarnation of Lakshmi Devi herself, or the goddess of fortune. Then, when he traveled to Eastern Bengal in order to teach, this is when Mahaprabhu was teaching Sanskrit, at that time, while he was away, Lakshmi Priya passed away. So when he returned, under the desire of Mother Sachi, Mahaprabhu accepted a second wife, who was Vishnu Priya. Vishnu Priya is actually an incarnation of Bhumi Devi, or Mother Earth. Understand? So there's some specialities to this. I don't necessarily want to get into it deeply. I'll just briefly. Lakshmi Devi, seeing the glory of the gopis' love for Krishna, had the desire that she also wanted to have this type of love. But the intrinsic nature of Lakshmi Devi is that she serves Lord Narayan, which is an expansion of Krishna, in the mood of awe and reverence. Looking at the gopis' love, Lakshmi Devi could appreciate how high class that love is and wanted to have love like that. So approaching the gopis, it's explained she once prayed, how can I get this kind of love? And the gopis told, well, first of all, can you give up all of your opulence of Vaikuntha? Lakshmi Devi said, certainly. Then she said, oh, can you live very simply? Can you make cow dung patties? So Lakshmi Devi, who is the queen of Vaikuntha, says, well, yes, to have this love, I can make cow dung patties. He said, one final thing, can you give up the idea of serving your Lord Narayan, who's your husband, and accept Krishna as your lover? So because Lakshmi Devi is so fully imbued with Dharma, and Maryada means the mood of opulence and on reverence, she could not fathom having a paramour. So then the gopis told, no, then you cannot serve like we're serving. So Lakshmi Devi, if you go to Vrindavan today, there's a section called Belvan. Belvan is a particular one of the 12 forests. Lakshmi Devi went to this place, Belvan, to perform austerities to try to get the mood that the gopis have. So Krishna, being very kind to her, granted her the boon she could come into Gaur Leela, and in this way she could marry Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and get a taste of the mood of the gopis through her association with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You understand? Bhumi Devi, whose mother Earth, she also has been serving the Lord. Now, the one thing about Lakshmi Devi is that because the love of the gopis is so high, their love has a power that even when they're in the deepest pangs of separation from Krishna, their love can produce association with Krishna. But Lakshmi Devi, she's never experienced or tolerated this kind of separation because Lakshmi Devi always resides on the chest of Lord Narayan. You understand? Even when she's not physically manifest, she manifests herself as the Srivats, the line of white hair on the chest of Vishnu is the manifestation of Lakshmi. She doesn't know what is separation. So when Mahaprabhu went to Eastern Bengal, she could not take the separation. So the Leela is that she's bitten by the snake of separation and leaves this world. However, Bhumi Devi, the very nature of Bhumi Devi is that Bhumi Devi is so tolerant. She bears the burden of the whole world. So Bhumi Devi is suitable to bear the pain of separation. So when Mahaprabhu took sannyas, Vishnu Priya was a youth of 12 to 14 years old. And she had to bear the separation mood as a widow for the rest of her life. But the nature of Bhumi Devi is she can tolerate this. You understand? Therefore, she's considered to be the chief wife of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Understand? So na janam na sundarim kavitam va jagat isha kamaye. So now Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is praying, oh Jagat Isha, oh Bhagavan, that person who's the controller of the entire universe, including Brahma, Shiva, all demigods. I'm praying to you, Kamaye. This is my desire. So now Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, I don't want, he's already described now, Anya Abhilasita Sunyam. I don't want Dhanam, Janam, Sundarim, or Kavitam. I don't want material learning. I don't want a beautiful wife leading to so many followers and other sorts of things. I don't want any wealth for my own sense gratification. Jagat Isha Kamaye. What do I want? Mamma Janmani Janmani Ishware. Oh my Lord, one more request, because even if you don't want wealth, followers, beautiful mate, you don't want material learning, everyone may want to get free from suffering in this world. So you want liberation. He says, oh my Lord, no, I also don't want that. Mamma Janmani Janmani Ishware. I am willing to take birth over and over and over again in order to get what? Bhavatat Bhakti Ahoitaki Twai. So the word Ahoitaki in Sanskrit means causeless. It means pure. That love which is based on love itself, not motivated by any other desire or any other agenda. Only the love itself. So Bhavatat Bhakti Ahoitaki Twai. I want that kind of Bhagavat Bhakti, which is Ahoitaki. It means it has no motivation except the love itself. Now, this is interesting because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in the mood of Srimati Radhika. I'm going to get to that in a minute. But even as a sadhaka, those who aspire to serve the Lord in Vrindavan, especially in the mood and in the line of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which is predominated by Palyadasi Bhav, means the mood of serving Radhika as a maidservant, Manjari Bhav, they have no desire even for any kind of liberation. In other words, there's four kinds of liberation: Salokya, Samipya, Saarsti, and Sarupya. Sarupya means a form like the Lord. Samipya means being in close proximity to the Lord. Saarsti means having the opulences like the Lord. Salokya means living on the same planet in Vaikuntha as the Lord. But those who are on this line of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu have no desire for Vaikuntha at all. So they don't want any kind of liberation even. Raghunath Das Goswami in his Manasiksha, he also wrote, Yariche Brajabhuvi, no. Yariche Brajavasabhuvi, Saragam Pratijanur. If you desire to live in Vrindavan absorbed in rag, means in a particular loving relationship with Krishna. Then prati janur, be prepared that it may take lifetimes to accomplish this. And do not settle or give up this pursuit for anything else. Just like Gurudev, my Guru Parapadma, used to sometimes ask devotees, oh, listen, if Krishna will come to you tonight on a golden chariot, Lord Narayan himself, and he'll park his chariot just outside your home because he has no parking regulations. You understand? And then he will ask you, oh, Prabhu, oh, Mataji, please, if you would like, I've come now. You've been chanting Hare Krishna for so many years. We want to right now give you liberation and take you to Vaikuntha. In Vaikuntha, you can live in the most opulent way, Sarasti. You can be in close proximity to me, Samipya. You also have a form like mine. You won't have a material body anymore where you can get colds, diseases, suffering, heat, cold. All these things will be gone. You'll have a form just like mine, Sarupya. You live on my planet. My planet is the best gated community in the entire manifestation, right? So you have the best lifestyle at all. All you have to do is put your foot on this chariot and we can go immediately, right? One-way ticket, it doesn't even cost you anything. Let's go right now to Vaikuntha. My Gurudev used to say, we should fold our hands, make the prayer, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Thank you very much, Lord Narayan. No, thank you, I will stay here. I only want to have Palyadasi Bhav to Radhika. You understand? This should be the determination in the heart to get this highest type of mood of service to the love of Srimati Radhika. So Mahaprabhu is praying, even as a sadhaka, we should aspire. Mamma, my Janmani Jamnishure. I'm not concerned about taking birth again and again, because all I want is ahoitiki bhakti. You understand? Bhavatad bhakti ahoitiki tvai. I only want this kind of pure, unmotivated love. Another thing is, even in Vrindavan Dham, love which follows in the wake of a particular condition, like being Krishna's mother, or being Krishna's friend, or being Krishna's servant, or being one of the trees, or anything else in Vrindavan where there's a mixed mood of service and friendship to Krishna. These are called Sambhog Mayi Prem, or Sambandha Sambhog Mayi Prem. It means the love is generated from the nature of the relationship. It is natural for a mother to love her child. So that love is based on the relationship of being parent and child. So Mother Yashoda's love for Krishna is absolutely transcendental and of the highest nature. But it follows in the wake of the relationship she has with Krishna as a mother. The queens in Dwarka, their love follows the mood of being wedded wives of Krishna. The cowherd boyfriends of Krishna, their love for Krishna follows in the mood, we are your friends. So every relationship, also in Vrindavan or even in Mathura and Dwarka, it follows in the mood of relationship. Vasudeva and Devaki, their love for Krishna is based in the idea that we're the parents of Krishna. Arjun's relationship is also based in I am the friend of Krishna. I already mentioned the queens of Dwarka. The only persons whose love is completely without, it is called completely Kamanug. Kamanug means it's generated by their kam, by their love only. There is no sambhog, because the gopis are not married to Krishna. You understand? So their love is generated for him simply by the love itself. In fact, because they are married to others, they have to contradict dharma and everything else to serve Krishna. So I'm telling one secret thing here about Bhagavad Gita. In Bhagavad Gita, one famous verse in the 18th chapter, the 66th verse, Sava Dhamma Parityaja Mamekam Saranam Braja Ham Tvam Sava Papepyo Mokshishami Ma Sucha. So here Krishna is telling to Arjuna, oh Arjuna, Sava Dharma Parityaja Mamekam Saranam Braja. The general meaning of this verse is, oh Arjuna, give up all considerations of all ideas of dharmic life and simply follow my instructions regarding this battle of Kurukshetra. But the real meaning of this verse is Sarva Dhamma Parityaja, like the gopis of Vrindavan. Give up everything, even Dharma, in order to express love for me. Sarva Dhamma Parityaja. Parityaja, I'm coming, Ganga, Virginia, London. Parityaja means to completely give up all Dharma. Who else among Krishna's loving associates have given up Dharma to serve and love him? Name one person except the gopis and especially Srimati Radhika who've given up Dharma to love and serve Krishna. Cowherd boys don't have to give up Dharma to serve Krishna. Mother Yashoda doesn't give up Dharma to serve Krishna. The queens in Dwarka don't give up Dharma. But the gopis, Haribol.
I was just going to say, does Lord Shiva count as that? Like doing the things he's done, like spreading Mayavad philosophy?
No, different thing. He's also following Dharma because he's following Dharma because he preached Mayavad under the instructions of the Lord.
Yeah, okay. Haribol, yes, okay.
Only the gopis. Na pariyaham nirvaja samyajam swaswarukritam viburu yashupiva. Ya ma bhajan dujaya geha shrinkala samvischa. They gave up Dharma in order to serve Krishna. Ya ma bhajan, to do my loving service. Ya ma bhajan dujaya. What was very difficult? Dujaya geha shrinkala. Their attachments to their family and to Dharma. Samvischa, they cut that in order to love Krishna. Because they are married ladies, but still they went and they were showing love and affection to Krishna. This is completely nirantara or against Dharma.
So is the gopis' love considered the purest of love with Krishna?
Yes, for that reason. All right, Virginia and Ganga, you had a question?
So are the Manjaris included in the class that gives up everything because of the love of Krishna? And are Vaishnavas also considered Manjaris, true Vaishnava?
Yeah, so two questions there. One is, yes, the Manjari's love for Krishna is based on the same principle because the Manjaris also married. But the Manjaris are married, but they give up everything, including the nature of their dharma to their husbands, to serve Radhika's love to Krishna. There are two classes of gopis. One is called Sambhogi Chamayi. It means those gopis like Lalita, Vishaka, Chitra, Chambakalata, the friends of Radhika, who also may meet with Krishna. Because Radhika, her desire is that her girlfriend should also be happy in serving Krishna directly. So Lalita, Vishaka, Chitra, Chambakalata, Sudevi, Rangadevi, Tungavijaya, they also serve Krishna directly, including all of the Priya Sakis. They also serve Krishna directly. It's called Sambho, means directly meeting with him, Ichamayi. The Manjaris, they have a special mood. Their mood is that they don't meet directly with Krishna. They have no desire to meet directly with Krishna. It is called, my wife is saying, Tat Tat Bhava Ichamayi. In other words, they want vicarious love for Krishna through their love for Radhika. So Rupa Goswami described this particular mood of Sanchari Syat Samunava. A Sanchari Bhav means one of the transitory emotions. Sanchari Syat Samunava, Krishna Rati, Surid Rati. All of the moods of love that are called Sthai Bhavs, it means the permanent sentiment of love, have to be towards Sri Krishna. So Rupa Goswami said, Sthai Bhav Uttara Saprokta Sri Krishna Vishaini Rati. The Vishaya or object of love in Bhakti is Sri Krishna. The secret meaning here is Sri Krishna. The love is towards Sri, meaning Radhika and Krishna.
Oh, yeah.
Because even the gopis who want to meet directly with Krishna by the influence of Radhika, they're also doing so under the desire of Radhika.
Yes.
You understand? And
Yes.
those gopis are also expansions of Radhika. They're called Kaya Vyuha. Those who are Surid Rati. So, Sanchari Sat Samunava Krishna Rati, Surid Rati. Those whose Rati or love is for the friend. Surit means their friend. Radhika, Pushamanas Adhikascha. The word Pushamana means it nourishes Adhika and exceeds their rati towards Krishna. In other words, their love for Radhika nourishes their love towards Krishna and consistently exceeds the love towards Krishna. Therefore, this category is called manjaris. In our line, not every devotee is manjari, but 99%. You understand?
Yes.
This is the speciality of the line of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So two things to be considered here. One is that even within the line coming from Mahaprabhu, remember he brought all the different rasas, Chari Bhakti Ras, into his Leela. Means 4 kinds of rasa. Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, and Madhurya Rasa. All came in Gaur Leela. So associates like Gauridas Pandit, Hridoy Chaitanya, they were all in Sakya Rasa. You understand? And associates like Sachimata and Jagannath Mishra, they're in Vatsalya Rasa. You understand? And then you had those who were in the mood of servitude to Mahaprabhu, like Govinda, his personal servant in the Gambhira. They're in Dasya Rasa. You understand? So all of the different moods were covered in Mahaprabhu's Leela. The prominent mood in the line is based on what Mahaprabhu especially came to give. He came to taste Radhika's mood of love and to distribute the service to that love. Unata Ujjala Rasa means Radhika's love. Maranakimabhav. Swa Bhakti Sriyam. The word Sriyam means beauty. The beauty of Radhika's love is that it accommodates accepting service to that mood. That mood is called Manjari Bhav. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to give that mood specifically. So in our parampara, coming from Mahaprabhu, all of the members of the parampara were manjaris. I've often asked, you can name any one in our parampara. If you go back, I'm going, my Gurudev, he revealed. So my Gurudev is also manjari. Our Srila Prabhupada did not reveal openly, but it's understood he is in manjari bhav. Srila Bhakti Saraswati Thakur, we know to be Nayana Mani Manjari. Srila Gokshalas Babaji Maharaj is Gun Manjari. Right? We know Bhakti Vinod Thakur is Kamala Manjari. Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, I think, is Rasa Manjari. Baladev Vijayabhushan Madhu is Manjalali Saki, means she's also Manjari. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is Vinod Manjari. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is Kasturi Manjari. Then Srinivasacharya, I think, is I'm not remembering the Manjari name. Shamananda's Kanaka Manjari. Narottam Das Thakur's Champak Manjari. Then going back further to Goswamis, Raghunath Das Goswami is Rati Manjari. Rupa Goswami is Rupa Manjari. Sanatana Goswami is Lavanga Manjari. Gopal Bhatt Goswami is Guna Manjari. Raghunath Bhatt Goswami is Raga Manjari. Some say Rasa Manjari. You understand? So the whole line is Manjaris. So if you go to a class and you're studying under this parampara, what do you think your aspiration is?
Manjari.
Eventually.
You understand? But it could be some exception. Rare, but some exception may be there. Bhakti Vinod Thakur accommodated this in his Jaiva Dharma. That Brajanath and Vijay Kumar, one was in Sakya Ras, one was in Manjari Bhav. But they both came to Gopal Guru Goswami, and when their particular moods were revealed, he had them come on different days to receive bhajan siksha according to their individual moods. Predominantly in this line is Manjari Bhav.
In the Vaishnavas?
Like I said, but now when you say Vaishnavas, it's a whole category. There are Vaishnavas who don't come directly in the line of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but they're Vaishnavas. The followers of Nimbarka Acharya, Nimbaditya Acharya, are also Vaishnavas. And they also worship Radha Krishna. But there are nuances in their mood of worship. For instance, in Nimbarka Sampradaya or Nimbaditya Sampradaya, which comes from the 4 Kumaras, their mood is that they worship Radhika as Sakis, only as friends. They don't make divisions among what kind of Saki. And they worship Radha and Krishna as eternally meeting with each other in the Kunj. They don't have an idea that there is a whole pastime going on in so many different places in Vrindavan. The focus is the kunja of Radha and Krishna, and they eternally manifest as associate friends of Radhika who help to serve Krishna. But they serve Krishna like gopis. You understand?
But, yeah. What I'm trying to understand is the Vaishnava consciousness is to just serve Krishna and Radha Krishna no matter what.
Yes, but there's other Vaishnavas who serve Ladu Gopal Krishna. In the Vallabh Sampradaya, they're also Vaishnavas.
Okay.
Many of them serve in Vatsalya Ras because they serve Ladu Krishna, Ladu Gopal. You see those deities of Krishna holding a lump of butter and he's on his knees?
Yes.
That deity is called Ladu Gopal. That deity is very prominent in the Vallabh Sampradaya.
That was new deity.
You understand?
Okay.
So, but they're also Vaishnavas. That's why Raghunath Das Goswami in Manasiksha, he said, Guru Goste Gostaleshu. Guru Goste Gostaleshu means worship the residents of Braj. And those Vaishnavas who have that mood. Sujane, we should also give respect to the Vaishnavas of other groups, like even the other Sampradayas, like Sri Sampradaya, etc. We should give respect and honor to them as well. And Bur Sugane means into Brahmins. So he recognizes Sujan means other Vaishnavas, the followers of Vallabhacharya. And also, like, you have some speciality in various things which are very closely related to our Vaishnava practice. Like in the Vallabh Sampradaya, they practice what is called Pushti Marg. Pushti Marg is the same thing as Raganuga Marg. Understand? So they also in Detroit, we have the deity of Natji, that deity of Krishna lifting Govardhan Hill. That is also the principal deity in the Vallabh Sampradaya, Ladu Gopal and this Natji deity. Understand? So in their mood as gopis, they worship this deity of Krishna lifting Govardhan Hill in the Vallabh Sampradaya.
Okay, I was just curious because I was told once that Vaishnavas in our Sampradaya were all, had no desire to go home back to Godhead, or go to Godhead, rather.
Go to Vaikuntha.
Vaikuntha. They had no desire for that. Their desire was only, no matter where they go, was to serve Radha Krishna.
Yeah, there's two things here. One is the mood that for Vaishnava, Narayana Parayana Savena Kutasana Bibhyati Swaraga Apavagana Rakishu Api Tulatra Dashana. That the Vaishnav's mood is that wherever they are, as long as they are absorbed in their devotion, Tulya means they see that place as non-different from the spiritual world. Example, Al Srila Prabhupada, my Guru Pada Padma, when they were here preaching, do you think that they were not in the spiritual world?
Yes, they were.
Yes, you understand? So even though they're here and they're seeing all this material stuff around them, they're not in this material world. You understand?
Yes.
So this is one meaning that is expressed about Vaishnavas always being, wherever they are, being in the spiritual world. But a separate thing is that as I mentioned earlier in the verse, that those who have pure desire for the service of Braj and Radha Krishna, they have no desire to go to Vaikuntha. Also, for those who have desire to serve Radhika in the mood of a manjari, there's one verse that's expressed, Shakayate mamastu, namastu, 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 satyam, Shakayate mama, namaste, namastu, satyam, Dasyayate mama, rasastu, satyam, this verse. So he's saying, oh Radhika, I have no desire to be in the mood like your Sakis. You understand? Like Lalita, Vishaka, etc. I only have the desire, Dasyayate mamastu, rasastu, satyam. I only have rasa or taste to be like your servant. So Rupa Manjari, Raghunath, they all pray like this mood. They don't want to be like Lalita and Visakha even. They don't want to directly meet with Krishna. You understand? Now, if you think about it, in the morning when we were doing our morning program in ISKCON for however many years, we used to go to do Tulsi Parikrama, means to worship Tulsi. And we would say, E nivedena dada, sakir anugata koro.
Okay.
What is the meaning? Saki anugata koro. The Sakis mean Lalita, Vishaka, etc. Anugata means I want to serve under them to serve Radhika. So Rupa Manjari, he belongs to the group of Lalita. So he's serving Radhika in the group of Lalita. You understand? So we're praying, may we also serve Radhika under our Guru Rupa Sakhi, who's serving Rupa Manjari, who's serving in the gun or in the group of Lalita to serve Radhika. This is also called Dasa Anudas. Understand?
Thank you, Gurudev.
So this is the Sadaka Avas meaning of this verse. Nadanam Najanam Nasundarim Kavitam Va Jagadisha Kamaye Mama Janmani Jamnesre Bhavatat Bhakti Hoitiki Twai. Now I'm explaining briefly the internal meaning of this mood. When Mahaprabhu's Vishad means his mood of feeling unfortunate, that he could not have Anurag and Harinam, right? His mood of humility came about from that. So from the second verse, Nanamakari Bahuda Nija Sava Shaktis, Tatrapita Niyamita Smarana Kala, Etadrisi Tava Bhagavan Mamapi Durdaivam. Durdaivam means Vishad. I'm feeling so much unfortunate that I cannot have Anurag for your name, even though you're so merciful that you've given unlimited names. This gave rise to dainya or humility. So in this mood of Radhika, Mahaprabhu becomes absorbed, and he recites the verse, Trenarapi Suni Chena Tororapi Evasishna, etc. Then his mood of humility becomes even more deep, but now it becomes mixed with hope, right? Asha, with hope. And he says, Nadanam Najanam Nashundarim. I have hope that if I'm able to become humble like this, then Kirtaniya Sadahari, I can always have your association via your name. You understand the mood? Radhika saying, there's no difference between you and your name. She's having that realization. But how can I have this name? I'm so proud that because of my pride, you went away. I explained that last week, so you can go and reference that. But now I'm praying, listen, Krishna, I'm wanting to become more humble than grass. Why? Because you walk on this grass in Vrindavan. And you take shelter of the trees of Vrindavan. So I want to be more tolerant than a tree. It means I will stand in the winter. I will accept all kinds of unfavorable conditions in order to have your association, that you may lay on my lap, just as you put your head on the trees when you go out with your cowherd boyfriends. So now he's praying, I also don't want anything else but this. So Nandanam, I don't want the wealth. I don't want Janam. I don't want Sundarim. And I don't want Kavitam. There is one time in a woman's life when all of these things converge. Dhanam, wealth. Janam, followers. Sundarim, that's the day a woman dresses up and becomes the most beautiful. And then Kavitam, all kinds of beauty and poetry and wonderful things surround that daily event. What day is that called for a woman?
Marriage.
Her marriage day. So Radhika saying, I don't want anything, including being married to you. You understand? I don't even want that you should have to marry me. You understand? Because Radhika's already married. So therefore, because I'm accepting Jagadisha Kamaye, I'm praying to God that my desire is that I will love you and have love for you, even without being married. In fact, I'm married to another. You understand? Because this is adharmic to have a paramour lover, and being married in Vedic culture is adharmic. She's saying, okay, Mamma Janmini Janminisure, I will take birth again and again and never obtain liberation in order to have a hoitiki bhakti, or this kind of love for you, which is parakya bhav. You understand? This mood of parakya bhav, I want to have this mood because it's most pleasing to you. Therefore, I'm willing to never be liberated. You understand? So it's very, very deep prayer in the mood of Radhika. We want to serve this mood of Radhika. You understand? Chaitanya Mangal Prabhu, a question?
Dhanabad Gurudev. I have a question. You mentioned that the cowherd boys did not have to give up Dharma to serve Krishna.
Yes.
What about I can't remember the cowherd boy's name, but he disguised himself as Radharani so that she could go meet Krishna.
No, this is not dharmic.
No.
This is if you're a friend,
Uh-huh.
then like in this world, we have friends, we call them ride or die.
Mm.
You understand? They'll do anything for you. So that is the highest dharma of a friend, that you'll risk everything for your friend. So he was, in fact, fulfilling the highest dharma. That's why Subal is described in Ujjalini Mani, Adyanti Garahasya Gyana. Adyantika Rahasya Gyan means because Subal is such a high class of friend, he's called Priyanamasaka, but he's such a high class Priyanamasaka because he would do anything for Krishna's happiness, that it's explained Adyantika Rahasya Gyan. He's the embodiment of the highest kind of knowledge among Krishna's friends of the deepness of Krishna's heart in relation to gopis. Wow. So among those who are in Satya Rasa, the Priyanamasakas are the highest. Among the Priyanamasakas, the highest is Subal. So even he can go to Jatila's house and make an arrangement for Radhika to sneak out because it means that Krishna will be happy. This is the greatest dharma of a friend. Very good question, though. Very good question. So everybody understand Radhika's mood here? She's praying. I don't want, because any woman would want, ideally, I want to marry Krishna. I can't go through the whole backstory, but in Gopal Champa was written that, of course, originally there was an idea that all of the damsels of Braj would marry Krishna. But then Purnamasi, she called Garga Acharya and told, you should read the astrological charts of all the gopis and then Krishna, right? Because you've already given his at birth, but you should read again. And then you should tell that actually the marriage of the gopis and Krishna is not suitable. So Gargacharya was bewildered. So why would we do that? So Purnamasi said, you should trust me that love is the highest thing. And that love, which is the highest intensity, is that love which comes under the duress of being forbidden, difficult to obtain, and must be kept hidden. You understand? Love, when you can openly express it, like the love of the queens in Dwarka for Krishna, they can openly express it. That love is not as intense of the love of a paramour who has to keep it hidden. It's very difficult to obtain each other's association, and it is socially forbidden. So the intensity around that love is very high. So Purnamasi arranged that Gargacharya would then tell all of Nanda Maharaj and all the other elderly gopis that their daughters should not marry Krishna because it was not compatible. So when they heard that, they all became very depressed. So then they still were to get married. So then Purnamasi said, arrange that in the future, they will be promised to other gopis in Braj. So now Yogamaya said, but I have a plan. So Yogamaya waited until the Brahma Vimohan Leela. That's the Leela in which Brahma stole all the calves, cowherds, and cowherd boys and hid them in a cave. During that year, Krishna manifested himself as all those cowherd boys. Purnamasi then said, this is the year you should arrange the marriages. You understand? So actually all those cowherd boys at that time were actually forms of Krishna, but in different persona. Because Krishna took the persona of each of the different cowherd boys. So now the gopis were married to all of those manifestations of Krishna, but it's unknown to them that it's actually Krishna. This allows Parakiya Bhav to be dominant. At the same time, on the day that, because this is called what is it called, sweetie? Betrothal? It's the promise. It's when you promise the hand of your daughter to her future husband. They don't go to live at the house of the husband because this takes place at a very young age. Some people mistake this, that in India, young girls are married at a young age, like 9 or 10. What's happened is there's a promise between two families. When the daughter becomes of age, she will marry your son. It's like that. So what happened was, when the day came for now those gopis, including Radhika and others who have been promised, like Radhika was promised to the family of Jatila and to marry Abhimanyu. When that day came, then Purnamasi said, it is so painful for the girls and so painful for the fathers. Let me take them to each of the houses of their in-laws. I will take them because knowing their hearts, I can console them. So Nanda Maharaj and all the elderly gopis agreed. So Purnamasi, when she was taking them to the houses of their in-laws, the gopis became so absorbed in their meditation on Krishna and their love for Krishna. And they became so deeply absorbed in the idea that they would be suffering, having to go to the house of their in-laws. When they became that absorbed, Yoga Maya created another prakosh in which these gopis lived. Prakosh means like an alternate reality, in which these gopis were living thinking they were married. She then made duplicates of their bodies and delivered the duplicates to the houses of the in-laws. This is all written in Gopal Champu of Jiva Goswami Pad. So actually, the gopis like Radhika, Chandravali, Vishaka, etc., they never were touched by any husbands. You understand? Duplicate bodies were made for them and delivered to the houses of Jatila, Kutila, and Duramada, the wife of Lalita, etc. All their husbands actually were originally forms of Krishna, but secondly, only duplicates were delivered to them. You understand? Just like Krishna made duplicate bodies of all the Kaur boys. So duplicate gopis were given to them. And the original gopis lived in a separate prakosh in which they had the idea of being married, but they actually were never married. You understand? These were all very deep things about our theology.
Haribol, Mukunda.
Haribol.
So does that mean that all of those leelas, like in like Prem Samput and all of those, were happening in that alternate prakosh? Like, so when Krishna and Radhika were able to like somehow have a meeting in Jatila's house, that was happening in the prakosh of the real gopis and Krishna.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Haribol.
Like when Krishna dresses as a woman and comes all these different times.
Yes.
And so forth. Yeah. This is all in the prakosh of the actual gopis.
But in the
Anytime
other
Krishna-
prakosh, in the prakosh of the duplicates, there was a sense of they were actually having family life with their husbands.
Yes, but always in a deep mood of separation from Krishna. The example of that is given on the night of the Ras Lila. It mentions there that those gopis who could not escape from their homes were gopis who were Sadhana Siddha. And as Sadhana Siddhas, they had not yet developed full association of the Nitya Siddha gopis like Radhika. So when the Ras Lila came, the gopis who had duplicate bodies easily attained Ras Lila because their husbands thought they were at home. You understand? So there was never any envy also generated by their husbands because husbands.
Yes.
But for those gopis, Dusaha Virohe Tivratapa Dusta Subha, those gopis who were Sadhana Siddha, then they were checked by their husbands and fathers from leaving to go to the Ras Lila. And it mentions Dusaha Virohe Tivratapta Dusta Shubha, but Dhyana Prapta Tutta Shlesha Nivitta Shinga Mangali. When they were forbidden from going, they meditated on Krishna in their heart. And therefore, all of the auspiciousness, the last vestige of inauspiciousness, which plagued their perfection, which was, even though they had gone to Vrindavan, they still had a tiny self-interest in their own happiness, that happiness being, we will associate with Krishna and become happy. That was removed by being checked from going to the Ras Lila. Then Dhyana Prapta Chutta Shlesha. In their meditation, they embraced the form of Krishna that had manifested in their hearts. By that, Nivritta Shina Mangali, all auspiciousness evolved. And then it means on a later night, or in the Nitya Dham, they did obtain the Ras Lila. You understand? So this verse is described to point out the difference between those who were Sadhana Siddha and those who were duplicate gopis versus the actual gopis like Radha, etc., who went to the Rasa Lila upon being called by Krishna's flute.
So actually hearing you say this, it makes me realize just how much mercy and how critical it is for us to meditate on Rupa Goswami and Rupa Manjari like now, because that would be us, right? We're sadhana. We're doing sadhana to try to attain to this place, which means, you know, the perfection, you know, however many births. But if we were to find ourselves in Vrindavan, but still not be perfect, it's like, that's our prayer, like that we would be under Rupa Manjari, under in Lalita's gun. Like we meditate on that now towards our eternal position to get the mood.
Yeah, actually, you're meditating on your Gurudev. So in the Guru Ashtakam in the morning, because your Gurudev has Manjari form. So you're meditating on your Gurudev, and in the 6th stanza of Guru Ashtakam, you're saying, Nikunja, you know, Rati Keli Siddha, I'm meditating on my Gurudev's spiritual form. When you chant your Diksha mantras, you're meditating in the Guru mantra and Guru Gayatri, you're meditating on your Guru's Sakhi form, Manjari form.
Jai. Okay. Yes. Haribol. Yes. Yes.
Then your Gurudev is serving his Gurudev, who's serving in the line of Rup Manjari, who's serving in the gun of Lalit.
This is the Dasanu Dasanu Dasanu.
This is the meaning of Dasanu Dasanu. Understand? Now, in also this particular case, the idea here is that those who were Sadhana siddhas and they needed to have association but didn't get it, met the rishis from Dandakaranya who were blessed by Ram to get the mercy to come into Krishna Lila. Also, the personified Vedas who prayed to become gopis. Also, some of the heavenly damsels who had attraction to Krishna. So many of those who came from Sadhana Siddha positions, some took the association like we're doing now. Others came and they didn't have that association in this form of sadhana. So they end up getting blessed to be in Braj, but unless they get the anugatya of the Nitya Siddha Gopis, then their mood does not develop. So they obtain the liberation of being in Vrindavan.
Wow.
And they taste the happiness of being in Vrindavan. This is called Prem Sevra Uttara Bhakti. Rupa Goswami explained this in Bhakti Rasmita Sindhu, and in the 4th verse of Manasiksha, Gurudev goes over it. So if you read the 4th verse in Manasiksha, Gurudev goes over, Shukya Aishwarya Uttara means the happiness of Vaikuntha, or, which means there's some self-interest, I will be happy in Vaikuntha, or Prem Seva Uttara, the happiness of obtaining Vrindavan and thinking, wow, I've arrived in Vrindavan. Shri Krishna, I will be happy here. Understand?
Yes, yes. Haribol, yes.
Haribol, Parvati.
Haribol. Chaitanya Mangala, did you have another question?
No, I think he just didn't put his hand up. Oh, you had another question, Prabhu?
No, that was it. Thank you, Gurudev. Sorry, Parvati.
So you understand? So in this way, the gopis who came from these different groups, they were the ones who didn't necessarily get association of Radhika and other gopis. And therefore, on the night of Ras Leela, they could not leave their homes. But the pain of that caused the dissolving of that mood of their own last vestige of self-interest. Now, we should also understand that their self-interest is not material. They're completely dedicated to serving Krishna. But there's some smell of their own happiness being derived from that service. You understand? Whereas pure bhakti is no desire for your own self-interest at all, only the desire for anukulyena Krishnanusilanam, everything for Krishna's happiness. Understand? And the gopis have this mood. Atma sukha dukhe gopio nakarele vichar. It means atma sukha dukh. That the gopis, nakarele vichar, they don't consider their own happiness. They only think about Krishna's happiness. So you have to be trained under them to come to this mood. As you're trained under the gopis to come to this mood, through the different leelas, the praying that you have for Krishna grows into sneha, man, rag, pranay, anurag. Anurag becomes mahabhav. Mahabhav becomes rud, adirud, right? In adirud mahabhav, it becomes modan. This is the limit for the gopis, and it's primarily in the party of Radhika only. Mohan is primarily only in Radhika, and Madan is her expression of her Mohan Bhav. Vicariously, her closest Sakis and the Manjaris they get the vicarious experience of her Madan Bhav. Understand? The height of the prem of the individual Manjari can go up to the point of Modan, which means Adirud Bhav in meeting Krishna. The Mohan, the extremity of separation, that's primarily in Radhika and produces Madan Bhav. But vicariously, that Bhav is tasted by Radhika Sakhis and Manjaris. Okay, take a deep breath, put it in the files, and it will come out later. So this is the point of this fourth verse, where Radhika is saying, against even all dharma, I only want a hoitaki, means her pure Madanakyama Bhav, in Parakya Bhav, only this type of love. So this was the prayer in the avast, or in the mood of absorption of Srimati Radharani. I've already given the mood in Sadak Avast or as an aspirant. So any questions or any comments?
Haribol, Dandavats Mukunda.
Dandavat Chandrika Didi.
You had mentioned before, you given the example of like Gurudev had said, okay, listen, if Krishna came to you and double parked outside your house in a golden cart and said, hey, you can come to my planet and live with me and have all these, opulences, and everything would be taken care of and you'd have no troubles, no suffering, none of that. And just put your foot on my cart and we'll go now. But if you say, no, I would rather just stay here and just completely be absorbed and just serving you, and then that would be the highest thing, because we don't want liberation. That's not our goal. Our goal is not to just serve ourselves and not want liberation. But my question is, how is it not the case that if you did hypothetically say, oh yes, Krishna, I'll come with you right now, does that mean that if you were to be in Goloka Vrindavan with Krishna, you would not be able to also be serving him
Yeah.
nicely? Like you wouldn't really be actually able to be really serving him without self-pleasure, without your own gratification? Because I'm trying to figure out
Well,
why
let me
would
help
it.
you. Let me help you one thing, because you've
Okay.
kind of conflated two things. So when I was
Okay.
giving the example, I was giving the example of Narayan, not Krishna. Narayan will come
Oh.
on a golden chariot.
Oh.
And ask you if you want to go to Vaikuntha, where you'll be free from suffering, you'll have all opulence, etc., etc. So if Narayan will come, we'll fold our hands and pray, I only want to obtain the mercy of serving Srimati Radharani. But even if Krishna, Gurudev says, if he will come and offer you the same thing, you'll give him the same answer. You understand?
Okay.
But if you, now the second thing that you're kind of conflating two things, is
Okay.
there are people who have the desire to serve Krishna in Vrindavan, right? Like you've ever heard of the very famous saint Mirabai?
Yes.
Very famous female saint. When she was a young girl, she used to worship the deity of Krishna. And when she was worshiping the deity of Krishna, she developed love for Krishna. She was born into a royal family, and her family, of course, arranged her marriage. But she told her parents, I'm already married. I accepted Krishna as my husband. But the parents said, come on, that's Bhagavan. You can worship him as your worshipful Lord, but you have to have a husband. So she married him to another prince. But Mirabai never acquiesced to being the wife of that prince. And therefore, eventually she gave up her family life and went to Vrindavan to live. But her desire was that she would become like a lover of Krishna. You understand? So her mood of loving Krishna was independent from being in Anugacha to Srimati Radharani. That's why in our Vaishnav community, we honor Mirabai's devotion, but we don't follow it. Understand? So there are people who have the desire to go to Vrindavan, to serve Krishna there, but they consider that to be a kind of liberation and a kind of happiness they'll have by being in Vrindavan and seeing all the wonderful pastimes of Krishna and serving him. So when a person has that mood, then they're not yet fully capable of completely selfless love, but their love is one-pointed because it's only for Krishna. Krishna proved, I'm coming to Prabhu, Krishna proved by accepting the desire of Kubja that if you have even one-pointed material desire for Krishna, he'll fulfill it. What was Kubja's desire? She wanted intimacy with Krishna. That was her desire. But her desire was only for Krishna and it was one-pointed. So Krishna fulfilled that desire of Kubja. What to speak of if anybody, I want to love and serve you in Vrindavan. Okay, come to Vrindavan. Oh, very nice. I'll be very happy now. I'll see all your pastimes. No harm. Only when you get the association of the Nitya Siddha Gopis, then your mood will change. Oh, I only want Krishna's happiness, not any smell of my own happiness. That comes from the association of Nitya Siddha Gopis. That's why there's one verse. Bhumipati recites the verse a lot. Krishna Bhakti Jana Mulahoy Sadhu Sangha. Krishna Prema Tenho Puna Mukha Anga. The primary anga or part of bhakti that's always going to be important, even in practice and even when you obtain praying, will be sangha or anugatya to the higher class of devotees. So even when we obtain our spiritual form, we will associate with our Guru Rupa Saki, who's associating with Rupa Manjari, etc. That's why somebody asked the question, Manini, that if you're practicing in this line, it's automatically started that train of being an anugatya. So when we go to Vrindavan, we won't have that mood of separate self-interest. That will all be dismissed here in practice in the line that we're in.
Okay, because I was confused because I thought that it was sounding like, okay, well, in order for me to truly be devoted in an organic spiritual way to serving Krishna, I'll have to have my material construct. Like I have to have this material identity. But then if I rise any further and really be in the spiritual world, that means that I'm not really having I'm not really doing it properly, because like I had also heard, well, like the demigods even have some desire to obtain a material form. And I said, well, why is that? And the answer is, well, so that they can really serve Krishna. And I'm thinking, well, if they're actually demigods and they have spiritual form, then why would they want to be here and have a material form?
Yeah,
It seems
demigods
like
don't
they're
have spiritual
already.
forms. Demigods have subtle material forms.
Oh.
And they are also devotees of Krishna, like Indra, Chandra, Brahma. They're all devotees of Krishna. Understand? But they've been assigned post in relation to the universal order. And in the course of executing that service, just like those who are aspiring in this world, in the course of executing service, sometimes there's bewilderment. That bewilderment sometimes is to increase their devotion. Just like in the third canto, you read about Brahma doing the creation. In the course of doing the creation, there are many challenges that arise in the consciousness of Brahma, which he has to overcome. And each time he overcomes it, he elevates more and more. Now, the other thing that you were mentioning is that when you obtain a spiritual body, it doesn't mean that all desire is gone. It means all material desires are gone. The desire to exclusively be in Vrindavan and serve Krishna is a spiritual desire, but it may still have the nuances of some self-interest involved in it. That's not a material self-interest, it's a spiritual self-interest.
Spiritual self-interest.
But it still has the smell of your own spiritual self-interest that's there. That will be eradicated by association with those who have prema, which is of a higher order. By their association, your spiritual body and spiritual mindset will become free from any sense of spiritual self-interest as well, and only be aligned with Krishna's happiness.
Okay. Okay.
All right.
I see.
There you go.
I see.
All right, Trivikram Prabhu.
Manashiksha chapter 4.
Yes, I was mentioning that earlier.
Chapter 4. Okay.
Trivikram Prabhu.
So going over this verse really drives home importance of recognizing our human nature and trying to get away from that, not having the attachments, etc. So my question is, are there any specific prayers? Because my human nature is that even if I'm telling myself I don't want to seek this liberation, I know that in my heart that desire is still there. Are there any prayers specifically for cleansing that liberation desire, even on a subconscious level?
Outstanding question. Outstanding question. Yeah, so all the prayers that we sing during the day are imbued with that mood. Every single prayer from Guru Ashtakam going forward are all imbued with that mood. When you first say your prayer to Sri Gurudev in the morning, Nama Om Vishnu Padaya, etc., that word Namaha is indicating the lack of self-interest, including liberation. Because the prayers to Sri Guru, right? Like you have my pranam mantra. So if you look at the pranam mantra closely, it says that I want to serve my Gurudev. My Gurudev is the Kripa Patra of his Gurudev, and that his only desire is for Palyadasi Bhav. So you're declaring Nama Om. I don't want any self-interest except the Anugati of my Gurudev. My Gurudev has no other desire except Palyadasi Bhav. So this eradicates the idea of wanting anything else, including liberation. Practically speaking, the maturation of the realization of that will come through the practice and maturation in bhakti. Because of our relation to the material body and our presence of false ego, we still have a natural aversion to suffering and the material world. And so there is a desire, let me get free from these things. You can't artificially erase that. But when bhakti starts to mature, the internal reality becomes more dominant. And being situated in the internal reality, it becomes almost like the material world becomes like backdrop noise, and we're just awaiting the time for our ascension to our spiritual domain. You understand? So tolerance becomes very plausible then, because we've realized the reality of the material world. It's just like the Santa Claus phenomenon for a child. When you're a child, you're very emotionally invested in Santa Claus. You understand? At least many children are. You understand? The whole ideal. So for a lot of children, when the bubble bursts around the fact that Santa Claus is not real, and so forth and so on, there's an emotional, oh, you understand? Or the child naturally matures into, yeah, there's no Santa Claus. You understand? So in the same way, there'll be a natural evolution in the practice of bhakti that gives us the ability to tolerate the fact that the material world is what it is. You understand? But I am not part of that material world. That will be a mindset at first, then it'll become an established reality. You understand? In the full maturation of bhakti, it becomes an established reality. But in the unfoldment process, we'll go through the stages of dealing with the duality that material body and the material influences are still present. Therefore, I still have experiences of ups and downs, suffering, this and that. So therefore, it's saying to tiksha, one has to tolerate that and stay on the path of bhakti while tolerating the especially parabdha karma. Parabdha karma means these are the fruits of things we've already done in previous lives. So the fruits of those things are coming to bear. So tate anukampam susamikshamano. We have to tolerate those things and stay strict to the path and allow the path to become the means by which gradually, that parabdha karma and the influences that create karma are removed, and the full establishment of our internal reality becomes present. Now, also it becomes sometimes difficult to gauge how and when that's happening, but you can see if you look at your life and you constantly take a retrospect where you were and where you are, you begin to see that progress immediately. You understand? So you know it's working, right? If I was sick and I took protocols to become well, my fever's down. So I'm still feeling some weakness of this, that, but when they take my temperature, it's gone from 101 back to its normal state, but I'm still feeling some badness. But I can tell by that metric, there's progress towards healing. So similarly, when you do retrospective of your life and see, oh, I bypassed this, I've given up that, I've given up this, I've moved forward this way. It's the metric to see how Bhakti's influence is working. And as you go on, that retrospective versus contemporary view becomes more dominant in your mind and in your consciousness. That becomes the cause of you also not giving up, because you see, oh, look where I've come. And therefore, even when you think maybe I will give up, and you realize, no, as soon as I stop chanting or stop serving, my whole consciousness seems to have been shifting back towards a place it doesn't want to go. So bhakti is also very difficult to give up, actually. Like this. All right, Manini?
Haribo Mukunda, I just wanted to ask
Haribo,
when you
Haribo, Haribo, Manini Haribo. Sahadev, were you waiting to make a comment or question?
No.
Your mic is open.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, Manini.
Okay, I just had a quick question. Mukunda, you were saying that when what you just said reminded me, I had this question earlier, that self-preservation is not the same as self-interest. Is it the true that it's actually a reflection of Sharanagati, like in Draupadi's case, or if someone calls out to Krishna, it's like Goptritve Varanam Tata or Rakshish Vishvaso Raksh, he's the protector. Yes, he's a protector, and that might just be the instinctual like manifestation of that versus so much self-interest.
Couple of things. One is, it's true. In Saranagati, which is why the Goswamis glorified Draupadi's appeal to Krishna to save her, because it demonstrates Saranagati. Vishwaso Rakshashati Vishwasha. Vishwas means a conviction, a trust that Krishna will save my bhakti. So in the particular case of Draupadi, her chastity is also related to her bhakti. So she was not praying that my pride of being disrobed, now, there'll put some issue with my pride now. Everybody say, oh, she was disrobed, and therefore my pride will be harmed. That wasn't her concern. Her concern was chastity for a woman is dharmic.
Yes.
So she was praying that my lajja, my chastity, my dharma will not be harmed. Bhagavan is always protecting the dharma of the devotee. Like in Sava Dharma Parityaja, give up all the other dharmas, surrender to me. Saranam Braja means Krishna saying, surrender to me, especially in the mood of the Brijavasis. Then Mokshishami Masucha, I'll protect you from Sava Pap, any kind of sin. So Draupadi held up her hands to say, please protect my dharma. You understand? So Krishna responded, that does not imbibe self-interest, because the only interest is in her dharma related to her service to Krishna.
I understand.
Therefore, Krishna appeared. Now, how did Krishna appear? He appeared as unlimited sari, correct?
Yes.
Actually, Krishna's unlimited sari was all the clothes he took from the gopis during the Chirgat Lila.
Haribol.
Understand?
Haribol, yes.
Now, he was thinking in his mind, oh, all of these gopis, to do service to me, they took bath in the river, and they came out and revealed their full bodies unclothed to me. You understand?
Yeah, yes.
Draupadi's praying, don't let my body be like this, But Krishna says, oh, how high class. So what he did was gave Draupadi the prasad mercy of those gopis by giving their cloth to Draupadi in the form of a sari. For this reason, Draupadi took up the inspiration to want to be like gopis. So when the Pandavas go to Sham Kund to do bhajan, to obtain a mood like that, Draupadi also goes there. They asked this question to Gurudev.
So she is part of the Panch Pandav tree that's there. Jai. Haribol, that's fantastic.
Gurudev didn't say. They asked the question, what about Draupadi? Gurudev said she also prayed like that. But he didn't say whether she was part of the tree or not. But he said
okay. But that she had that mood.
Yes.
Wow. Thank you, Mukunda. Is it also similar? I mean, I don't know. This is a completely different Leela. I don't remember the name of the wife of the sage, but when she was the most chaste lady, and then
Anasuya and
yes. Is that a similar kind of like
no.
like protection of dharma or bhakti?
Yeah, actually here shows that those who are dharma bhakti means they are devoted wives. That Krishna empowers that wife, much in the same way he empowered Tulsi. Tulsi that we worship, she also in the Leela, she had married one person named Jalandhar. Do you know this story?
No.
So I'm telling it, you know the story of Atri and Anasuya. So in that case of Atri and Anasuya, Anasuya was also a Dharma Patni. There's many famous ones, Savitri, Anasuya, so many devoted wives like this.
Yes.
So in the case of Tulsi, she also was a devoted wife. You understand? She married one person named Jalandhar, but Jalandhar had become wayward. And Jalandhar was waging war against all of the demigods and everything. And because of Tulsi's devotion to her husband, she would pray to Lord Vishnu every time her husband would go to war, so none of the demigods could defeat him. So the demigods went to Lord Narayan and asked, listen, what should we do? That every time we get ready to fight with him, even the most powerful among us, we can't defeat him. So Lord Narayan told him, you should tell Lord Shiva to join your army. And then, okay, Prabhuji, Dandavad, Trivakam Prabhu. So, and tell him to take his trident and join your army. When he took his trident and joined the army of the demigods, Lord Vishnu at the same time, when Jalandhar went out to fight for that time with the demigods, inclusive of Lord Shiva, Lord Vishnu came to the house of Tulsi, and she took the form of Jalandhar. So she thought, oh, my husband, you've come back from the battle so quickly. So at that time, Tulsi was serving Lord Vishnu, and then Lord Vishnu, he manifested union with Tulsi Devi, and Tulsi Devi, when she was touched by the Lord, because she was a Dharmapatya, she immediately realized, this is not the touch of my husband.
Oh, wow.
You understand?
Yes.
So then Tulsi said, how could you? And then Lord Vishnu was forced by the power of Tulsi to reveal his actual form. So he revealed his form, said, oh my Lord, how have you become so cruel that you tricked the innocent woman like myself who's dedicated to her husband? So the Lord tried to explain the rationale about why he had to do it. So she said, I understand that. But in the meantime, her husband did return, but without a body, only the head.
Oh, no. Wow.
So that was to show that Shiva, with his trident, cut off the head of Jalandhar.
Mm-hmm.
So Jalandhar came just in the form of the head, and he prayed, oh my Lord, you forgive all my offenses, etc., etc., etc. So he obtained liberation, right? Because unless he got the mercy of the Lord, then he wouldn't have gotten that. Then Tulsi said, but still, my Lord, the way you tricked me was very cruel. Your heart is like stone. So maybe you should be a stone. And in that way, you can rectify your dealings with me. So the Lord said, so be it. I'll become a stone. What stone did the Lord become? The
Hologram
Shila.
Sheila.
And he said, in order to satisfy me as Shalagram Shila, you should take the form of the plant Tulsi.
Wow.
And you should always be united with me in marriage. So this is the whole pastime of the marriage of Tulsi and Shalagram.
Wow, that's amazing.
The Madhurya manifestation of that same Tulsi plant, which is in Vaikuntha, is Vrinda Devi in Vrindavan.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes. Yes. Wow. Where's that told? Where's that story?
In Padma Puran.
Oh, thank you, Mukunda. Hari Hari Bol.
All right.